Hey everyone, I'd like to welcome you to a very exciting discussion we'll be having today titled Efficiency and Control, a must-have for all IT leaders. Today we're going to be discussing how there's a fundamental requirement of efficient operations and built-in controls in order to effectively manage and secure your SaaS environment. It's my pleasure today to be joined with a couple of great IT thought leaders and practitioners from Better.com. They'll be giving us a great understanding of their BetterCloud usage to ensure both smooth operations while maintaining the control they need organizationally. So with that, let's get started. I'll start off with my own introduction. So my name is Mohammed, Khalid. I head up our enterprise solutions engineering team here at BetterCloud. I've been here for almost 3.5 years now. Prior to BetterCloud, I've actually spent the last 10 years in a solutions engineering capacity. The first half of those 10 years, I was focused heavily in the agile project management space. So working with product managers, developers, business analysts on a day-to-day basis. And I eventually moved on to a company called LeanKit, where I headed up our global SE organization there. And LeanKit actually got me really entrusted into the IT side of the world, right? Our focus was really on DevOps, Kanban, continuous improvement, really a lot of those lean practices. And interacting with IT on a day-to-day basis, it really gave me empathy for what IT has to do on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the unplanned work, the planned work, which is more often than not the unplanned work, right? The fire drills that you have to put out. And it gave me a great appreciation for how IT is the backbone for every organization. So when BetterCloud came to me with the opportunity and it presented itself to me around what BetterCloud is doing, especially around helping IT and security get that control for managing the SaaS environments, especially with how SaaS is growing, it was an opportunity I couldn't give up. And it's something that I do on a day-to-day basis is having conversations with customers and helping them through their SaaS ops journey. So that's a little bit about myself. I'd like to pass the baton to Rose Oshaia, who's going to introduce herself and provide a little bit of background. And then we'll move on to Corey Falls as well. So Rose, if you'd like.
Thank you. My name is Rosas, and I am the global head of IT at Better.com. I head up the India and US teams, which covers SaaS, infrastructure, and customer support. I started my IT career in 1999 and worked my way up the ladder, mainly in a heavily male-dominated industry, which is slowly changing. We're working towards that. I got a taste of startup life when Rent the Runway hired me as their IT manager. The opportunity was both exciting and scary at the same time. Rent the Runway was actually the complete opposite of my experience at Tiffany & Company. I fell in love with startups and the idea of working IT outside of the box. I spent 5.5 years there and Better.com came calling. I've been with Better for 9 months now, and we have grown tremendously since, and my team is doing things that were unimaginable 6 months to a year ago. It's hard work, but so much fun. My passion is helping people and making sure that everyone around me has what they need to be successful. This goes for my organization, my team, and my professional circle. Outside of work, I'm a wife, a mom of two 20-something-year-olds, and a 9-year-old daughter. I am active in my church where I go to serve at a different level. I love cooking and feeding people. When I'm not doing that, I'm watching random videos on YouTube.
It would be really interesting if we could get a stat of like how much random YouTube videos are being watched by all employees on a daily basis, right?
Seriously, right?
We'll get networking on it.
Yeah, completely. Thank you for that, Rose. And then Koi, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, my name is Coy Falls. I've been in IT for over a decade now, and I've always been focused on a stellar customer experience. I'm currently managing our SaaS pillar of IT at Better. We're focused on automation, vendor relationships, and supporting our internal team's needs.
That's awesome, Koi. And actually, I'll piggyback off of that. When you say stellar customer experience, right, it's something that we as a company take pride in as well. So when you're looking for IT solutions in general, what are you looking for to ensure that's helping you with that stellar customer experience? Like, how is it going to complement that goal?
Yeah, I think it's it definitely is always top of mind, right? When we're looking at vendors, we're not only thinking about how IT is going to interact with this application, but we're really thinking about how that's going to impact our users and their day-to-day work, and what this is going to look like for them, especially if it's something that they're interfacing with. So definitely something that is just always top of mind as we look at new vendors, as we compare apps when we are looking into a new solution. That customer experience and that journey that our company is going to go on to roll out this app and to begin to use this app across the company is definitely a key.
No, that's awesome. Especially when you think about customer experience, making sure there's like a minimal footprint there, unless it's improving that experience itself, right? So
absolutely.
No, that makes sense. I have a question for both of you, because Rose brought this up, and I think this is definitely for both of you to answer here. But what is it about the startups or the startup environment that really stands out for you? And Rose, we can start with you there, since you mentioned how it's outside the box. So what else is there? Like, what gets you excited about the startup environment?
So startups are not for everyone, right? I feel like you have to have a certain level of heart and tenacity to be able to work in a startup. I feel a startup is a place for someone who is willing to take risks, and also to try to bring in structure at the same time. So I totally feel that startups are addicting. The moment you start working in one, it's really hard to go back to not necessarily the structure, but the rigidness of bigger companies. You have more flexibility in a startup. There's more ownership also, where you feel like you're contributing to the growth of the company. That was the experience I had at Rent the Runway, and that's definitely the experience I'm having now at Better, where when I see things being said about Better, there's a level of pride for myself and my team, and for everything that's happening at Better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. It's just that more flexibility. I mean, not that there's anything, obviously, I mean, it requires a certain type of drive and attributes to thrive in a startup. And it also requires a different type of drive attribute to be in a large organization. So really, thank you for those insights. Coy, did you have anything there as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got, started in my IT career in startups, 200 to 500 people. And I just really love the chaos. I'm addicted to it. It's like, there's always something going on. There's, I've always considered myself a generalist and a jack of all trades, and getting my hands involved in so many different projects. I also did have an experience at a big tech company, and I just found it was completely unnatural to me to have entire teams dedicated to apps, and to just not even know these people that you were working with at that deeper level that you get at a startup. And it was something that I really wanted to get back to. And then Better came calling, and I was really looking forward to getting back to that startup life. And it's a completely different experience, and I really enjoy it.
No, for sure. I really appreciate those insights there. Want to ask one more question, and we'll jump into the next question. And Rose, this is for you, because you spoke about in your background passion around serving people and ensuring everyone has what they need, right? Especially in this COVID world that we're living in, more and more people are having to balance a lot more. And a lot of people are struggling, including myself, right? So I'm curious, what would you say is the secret sauce there to help you balance all that and making sure that you can satisfy the needs of people, whether it's organizationally, personally, et cetera? Just curious if you can give any tips there for me, especially.
So I think the most important thing here is empathy, right? Really caring about how your actions impacts other people, or your inactions for that matter, and just really considering that, the way I see myself is that I am here to help. And so I walk into a situation and, I listen. I talk to people a lot. I like talking. Over the years, I've learned to be a good listener, where I pick up on what people are saying their issues are, because sometimes they can't articulate it. All you hear is the frustration. And then I do my due diligence in terms of like talking to my team, talking to leaders in the organization, and getting advice from the veterans that, that were here before me, so that I can make sure that I'm making a good decision in terms of just helping people to be more productive in this current climate, right? This is no longer where, someone is going to work, but it's literally sometimes someone is getting up out of bed and then starting to work. So there seems to be no separation of the two for the most part. So on a conscious level, I try to make sure that my team has adequate time off where, before, when you were working from home, it was just you were, working and not really taking time to take care of you. But self-care is super important to me, and my team also taking time to do what it is, whatever it is that their passion is, right? Whether they want to run or they go biking or they take their kids out, whatever that is. I feel like we need a good balance of it. I don't know if I have a secret sauce. I feel like really just taking it one day at a time, because it's really uncertain for all of us what's really going to happen, right? Corona is up, it's down, it's, um, we've lost a lot of lives, and that, and each of us in some way have been impacted by a loss one way or the other. And so that's way outside of the bounds of IT, of what I can fix. But as a human being, if I can show you that I care and I'm here for you if you need to talk to me, even not just with people in my team, but people outside of my team, I feel like that's a step. That's something that we all can do as human beings, not just caring about the technology, but also caring about the people that are using the technology on a human level, on a conscious level, and on a spiritual level as well.
Yeah, I need to put this on repeat, put this on like record this, put this on a podcast and hear that. You said there is no secret sauce, but the secret sauce I heard there was empathy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the underlying theme there, and that's
Yeah.
I completely. So thank you for sharing that. So I want to actually jump into some of the topics around efficiency and control. And the first question I wanted to ask is, you are a customer of BetterCloud. And I'm actually really curious, before you jump into how BetterCloud's helping you, what were your processes like before BetterCloud, right? So what were you guys doing internally to manage these SaaS apps prior?
So we definitely, before Coy and I got here, BetterCloud was being used, but prior to BetterCloud, a lot of the processes here were manual. And even though BetterCloud was in place, it was still not being utilized to its fullest potential. And so our now head of IT, Michael, when he came on board, he started to gradually implement the automations that have gotten us to where Coy comes in, and then further taking BetterCloud another step into our evolution here at Better.
Oh, that's great. And it's funny. There was a famous quote from somebody, and I'm sure you will know who it was. With great power comes great responsibility, right? So when you mentioned, that it was there, and there's so much more you could do, that completely makes sense. I guess a question for you, and I know this was before you joined. BetterCloud was already in place, but just as an IT professional in general, and this is for both Coy and Rose, what has your experience been like in the past when you do have to manage these various SaaS apps or just apps in general, and having to log into each of those consoles to manage that? Like, what has that experience felt like for you from a day-to-day perspective?
So I it's been a while since I've had to do that kind of work. So, but as a leader, you get to hear from your people just how long something is taking and the pain of it all. It's super time consuming. And then also you're leaving room for human error, right? Because the more touches you have, the more likely it is that there would be an error, as opposed to having an automation where everything is set right and you will not repeat errors, right? So definitely the huge time sink that it was, and the potential for error was much bigger.
Yeah, and the error part is something I hear from a lot of our customers, and that definitely goes into both the efficiency and control piece, making sure that things are being done right. And from a control perspective, making sure things are being done and that there aren't like the wrong steps being taken. Koi, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been lucky to have a lot of automation in place at a lot of the companies that I have worked at. I do remember one company having a checklist, a paper checklist that when someone left the company, we went through and went to every application on the list and made sure their account was deactivated and manually checked it off. We signed and dated it, put it in a file cabinet that they had been offboarded, and to compare that process to where we're at now, and to have this all just work as soon as we deactivate their account. I mean, it's really an amazing process, especially compared to the other options. So
yeah, for sure.
I was going to say that's a little scary considering you've only been in IT for 10 years, Koi. That means that 10 years ago, people were putting stuff in a file cabinet.
Yeah,
it's
changed a lot. And of course, yeah. And this is the minimum now. Like, this is the expectation. And if you're not, then you got a lot to look at. So
yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting there too, because even with those manual checklists, you also have to make sure those checklists are also being updated. So how quickly are they getting outdated, right? With the way SaaS apps are growing, et cetera. Like
Oh yeah, for sure.
I remember printing new ones when we changed something on them. Yep, it's weird.
That's so insane. Yeah.
Funny to think about.
It's scary to think about. So let me ask you this. So piggybacking off of that, and so how has BetterCloud helped you efficiently secure your SaaS environment today? You mentioned a little bit around the automation piece, but if you want to go a little bit further.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I mean, to get into the security piece, the thing that really comes to mind is our offboarding automation. We leverage BetterCloud extensively for our offboarding. It helps us ensure that people, departing Better, get their access revoked or that their accounts are deactivated, and we know that process is going to go through. We get alerted if there's any issues with that process, and it really is just amazing. Just incredibly helpful to know that offboarding process, has gone through all of the applications that are connected to BetterCloud, deactivated or completely removed that account, and obviously a huge time savings for the team as well.
So something I've seen both here and just in my past lives with the various SaaS solutions out there, and just processes in general, right? A lot of times a team or organization's processes are tied to the solution set or lack thereof that they have in place, right? So when we think about efficiency and efficiency and control, I'm curious, what would you say? Would you say your offboarding processes or your processes are the same, or have you actually been able to evolve it through a solution like BetterCloud?
Yeah, so right now we definitely have plans to begin to apply different policies based on role and department to ensure that all of our processes are aligned with our internal controls. The other thing that we are constantly working on is, as our environment changes, as the company's tech stack changes, as different departments, especially HR, use different applications, it's connecting those with BetterCloud and modifying those workflows to tie into those applications and ensure that process is just running super smooth and is connected, and we're utilizing all of their tools as well to the fullest extent with BetterCloud.
Yeah, so bringing other teams into the process seems like when you think about extending the use cases, making sure the other siloed groups, whether it's HR, et cetera, being able to bring them in. I guess on that front, let me ask you this: like, when you think about bringing other apps in, how important is extensibility for you? Like being able to extend the usage even further, whether it's custom integrations or native. I mean, just a little bit more on that, right?
Yeah, I think I think it's kind of always that question of the time that the team needs to spend to implement something like that versus the kind of return on that investment in time. But it's something that, like, it's always back of mind, and thinking about like the time that the team currently spends on any of these processes versus the time it's going to take for us to potentially really have to do some engineering efforts there to put a better process in place, and then a lot of times it's going to be worth it pretty quickly, especially with a company growing this fast, to invest in that, automation to support that, versus, kind of struggling through any process outside of that right now, definitely.
And it sounds like even from like an extensibility perspective, like there's amount of time that you'd want to, obviously you have to think about putting it in, but that's why it would be even more important for it to be something that can be extended with minimal time versus like over engineering as per se, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let me ask this, the pandemic has impacted growth for many organizations, right? A lot of people came in, March 2020 hit and growth plans completely shifted. I'm curious, especially with what you guys are facing, how was growth impacted at Better.com?
Well, since the pandemic began, Better has hired approximately 2,000 people due to the demand on online lender at a time where the rates are at historic lows, and people are work from home. So, and we have plans to hire an additional 1,500 people by the end of the year. Americans are pursuing home ownership with use of online platforms at record pace. As a digital first home ownership company, Better.com has funded more than $10 billion in loans since the pandemic started in March. Better has grown to a number of funded loans year over year through August 2020 by 5x.
2,000 already and another 1,500 by the end of the year. So
yes.
I think it's safe to say that your growth has continued, if not gotten even more since the pandemic began, right?
Right. And so like a lot of people, like they hear growth and it's definitely amazing, but there's so much work that goes behind that. My team is constantly engaged, from week to week planning. Like I always tell my team, like all roads are leading to onboarding. So it's making sure that we have processes in place, and BetterCloud helps us there a lot, where we are able to onboard hundreds of people every month, and being able to make sure that we're also delivering a great customer experience, making sure that these apps are set up correctly, making sure that there's minimal mistakes. We've definitely gotten so much better at it. My team has just grown and come leaps and bounds from when we first started. I think I started in December of last year, and Coy, you started in February, was it?
Yep.
Yeah. So from that time till now, we've done so much with onboarding, and then giving the added complexity of doing everything remotely. So manually setting up machines from like people's apartments and things like that, when we were really in the heat of the pandemic, to now where it's, we're onboarding hundreds of people, both in the US and in India. It's really just, it's sometimes mind-blowing too. When I take a step back and I process everything that we've talked about and done, I'm just amazed by everything that's happening.
Yeah, and you answered the question, because I was going to ask you how BetterCloud has been an enabler for that growth, and you mentioned that it is the onboarding policies that you have set up, and then that especially hundreds of employees on a daily basis. And if you think about like efficiency and control, again, Coy, you're probably closer to this. Like when you're using these onboarding automations, do you have these scoped out? Like, are they like role-based automations, department-based automations? Like, what does that look like, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They all of the above. I mean, yes, we depending on the workflow and depending on the automation that it is, like we're looking at manager, we're looking at role, we're looking at title, department, we're looking at office location. So we're able to take all of that information from the user profile that's directly imported from HR and action that in a variety of ways to kind of get the workflow that we need and get these people the access or the privileges that they need for their apps.
I mean, when you say 100 of employees a day, that seems like definitely an important piece to make sure from day one they have access to what they need. So that's that efficiency and control piece there. So no, that's exciting to hear, and I know everybody listening to this would be probably excited to even learn more potentially in the future. I
Yeah,
know we're getting
I
close
would
to,
go a step further and just
yeah,
say
go ahead.
that, from the efficiency and control, we're able to tie that into customer experience, right? Because that then becomes the reputation of IT. And I guard that very seriously, because if it's done right the first time, that customer's experience is going to be a good one. But if it's not done right from the beginning, then that will bear the fruit of not having great customer experience. So, and that becomes the reputation of, the IT team versus the user. So that, for me, I hold that very dearly, and I feel like that's where I challenge my team all the time to just say that, guys, we got to make this better. We have to make this better, and we really have been, and it's great to see it, and I'm even more excited about where it's going to go.
No, I love that. Like, again, a customer-centric mindset, whether it's internal customers, external customers, what's that customer experience looking like? And with, as you mentioned, BetterCloud being an enabler for that growth. So are you, last piece here, are you constantly evolving the workflows to determine how you can make that customer experience better and better?
I would say yes, we are. But I'd like Coy would speak more to the technical part of it. From a business level, this is something that we constantly have to iterate on. Some things are set, and that's just what they are. You don't need to make changes to certain things, but the things that we do need to iterate on, we constantly do, because as the team is evolving, so does, our practices need to evolve to align with the business.
Yeah, no, I completely get it.
Yeah.
And I know we're close on time, so I just want to ask one final question, and this is for both of you, Coy and Rose. When you hear the term BetterCloud, right? What's the first thing that pops into your mind?
I think this one's pretty easy. 100%. It's BetterCloud's customer support. The support team is available what feels like instantly, and they always just go above and beyond to help you out, resolve your issue, find the best solution. And it's not like some other support where they're just, oh yeah, here's this help desk article, like go read through it. It's like, no, like let me look into this with you and let me really help you out with resolving this issue. It's a bit of a joke internally, actually, when we encounter really terrible support, which unfortunately we do pretty often, with other vendors. We kind of joke around that they should learn from BetterCloud, or we just wish that they had that chat box like just pop up and be like, let me get someone right now, versus calling or emailing. It seems so antiquated, and the BetterCloud support model has just been amazing.
So from my perspective, I think it would be our account rep, Dana. She's actually like the coolest person to work with, because she doesn't hound me on getting things signed. It's like, here's what you need. I'll come back with, hey, can we do this? Or can we get this pricing? And she'll say, let me go back to my people. We can do this. We can't do that. But at the end of the day, I'm not getting, I have vendors that will text me. They will email me. They will call my boss. She did neither of those things. We were able to, to get her work done, my work done. And it's just a breath of fresh air to work with people who actually, and I guess because you guys are a startup too, so you understand when I'm saying that, when I don't respond in a timely manner, that that I'm not just blowing you off, but I'm actually maybe just that busy, where you will give me the confidence to know that I will get it done, and you don't have to hound me. So I really appreciate you, Dana.
I'll be sure to pass this along to Dana. And you know what? I will say that, first of all, I know our CEO, David Politis, will be thrilled to hear what Coy mentioned, and especially what you mentioned, Rose.
Yeah.
He is really fully invested on world-class customer support. That's something that was huge for him. He even brought that up during the interview process when I spoke with him. And we do have a customer-centric DNA that we strive for. So really, really happy to hear that it's resonating. And especially, you weren't paid to say this. Maybe you'll get some hoodies after this, but you weren't. So this yeah, there it goes, right? No, but it's something we all strive for, is that customer experience. So with that, I know we're right at time. Rose and Coy, I really want to thank you for taking time out of your day to share your journey with us and with the audience, and for everything that you do. And with that, again, thank you everybody for joining today's session around efficiency and control, must have for all IT leaders. And please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.